everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And before we dive into today's Kiki, which is just talking about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion part 1, season 3, who's lying, who's scheming, what are the scandals, what are the alliances, and what are my conspiracy theories on the situation? Because I've actually uncovered a new conspiracy that I've thought about while watching the reunion. But before we dive in, I wanted to remind you guys that we also do self love and self care content on my channel. So be sure to check out those videos. Also, be sure to check out the description box down below, join our newsletter, and get a free self love guide. And then also check out our courses, podcasts, books, movies, and more. So, with that, let's dive right on in. So, okay, first up, this season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has been very boring, very monotonous, very want to me. I'm happy that this season got cut short and is over because I think that they really need to do a revamp and a reboot of this cast, of this franchise, if it's going to survive, particularly because Jen Shaw is now gone to the Clink Clink. With that being said, let's dissect each woman and the reunion and what I think. Okay, now when it comes to Heather Gay, so I used to think that when she was going against Whitney Rose with the whole Lisa Barlow rumor situation, whether or not Angie H said that Lisa Barlow was, sleeping with, giving blowies for tickets, this, that, and the third, and for Vita Tequila stuff, I used to think that Heather Gay was protecting not necessarily Lisa, but that she just didn't want to get involved with a mess. But now I think that Heather Gay was actually trying to protect Angie H. She didn't want to admit that Angie H was the one who was starting the rumors about Lisa Barlow and about Lisa Barlow's alleged sexual activity with a certain rich man in Salt Lake City for tickets and for, influence and getting her vodka distributed places. Because this is what I think. I think Heather Gay, Angie H, what's her name? Dana and Angie K all have an alliance. I think the four of them are very much like the Fox Force 5. This is what I think happened. I think that Heather Gay doesn't really like Jen Shaw. I think she's fronting with that. I think it's a very fake and phony friendship. I think Heather Gay is a big liar. I don't think she really likes Jen. I think she stands by Jen, ride or die in her face, but behind her back, she stabs her in the back. I think Angie Harrington, wants to be the queen bee of the show. She wants to take Lisa Barlow's place. I think that they want to get Dana to take Jen Shaw's place. And I think that Angie K just wants to be on the show. I think that Heather is down for this, like, replacement situation, right? Hey, Tammy. Tammy says, I think Lisa Barlow is a liar. What do you mean you think Lisa Barlow is a liar? What do you think Lisa Barlow is lying about? Because I love Lisa Barlow. I am a Lisa Barlow stan. So what do you think Lisa is lying about? Do you think she's lying about the SEC filing on her company? Do you think she's lying about... What do you think she's lying about? Put it in the chat box. Let me know so we can talk about it. That's right, Candy Canes. Put down your questions in your comments. Let this just be like a fun kiki, a fun conversation. So definitely put it down. Tammy says, I can't stand Lisa. Okay, but what do you think she's lying about specifically? So then we can get into it. So what do you think she's specifically lying about? Put it down in the chat. Okay? Now, that's where I think it stands with Heather Gay. Now let's talk about her black eye. I actually, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually believe that Heather... Okay, so Tammy says, I think she's lying about everything. She always acts like a victim, but she is not. The FCC filing. I think it's an SEC filing, right? But she didn't lie about that. She said, yes, we did do the filing, but it was for a different tequila brand, not Vita Tequila, right? And Tammy says Jin Shah punched her. Okay, yes. Now let's get into it. So when it comes to Heather Gay's black eye, this is what I think happened. Do I think Heather Gay was blacked out? Yes. But I also, Tammy says, oop, SEC. Yes, exactly, Tammy. Yes, SEC filing. Now, this is the thing. When it comes to Heather's black eye, yes, I think that she was blacked out or maybe super drunk, but I think in her gut, she believes that Jen Shah was the one who attacked her. Do you see what I'm saying? And so she was trying to bait Jen into admitting what happened to her. Do I think she remembers 100%? Maybe, maybe not. But I do think that it was Jen Shah. I don't think it was a random attack in the night. I don't think she was just blackout and hurt herself. I think Jen Shah was involved one way or the other, whether it was intentional with Jen Shah, like she was mad at her and just was wasted and popped off and got physical, or if they were both wasted and were just, doing whatever, doing the most, and it escalated. But I do think Jen Shah was behind it and was involved in it. One, because Heather kept like, I don't know what the word is, not like foreshadowing, but she kept sort of like dropping hints like, oh, Jen, do we want to tell people what happened? Oh, let's talk about this. And then Jen was like, well, what are we going to say about the black eye? I do think Jen Shah was behind it, but Heather Gay doesn't want to come out and just say it, which sucks because, like they said, the reunion, a whole investigation was, you know, I don't know what you call it, launched. Because if you do have a person who is saying that they are blackout drunk and they have been physically assaulted with a black eye and scrapes on them, and they're not saying who did it, then you have to investigate everybody. You have to investigate the cast members, and you also have to investigate production and crew. Because if she's saying this attacked me, is it a sexual attack as well as physical? Like, it gets to be a very bigger situation than just Heather and Jen are drunk and something happens and one of them ends up with a black eye. It gets to be a very much bigger conversation. It puts everybody in the in question. If she's drunk, doesn't know what happened to her, and clearly someone physically assaulted her, was there also a sexual element to it? Was it a sexual attack? Why was she physically attacked? Do you know what I mean? Clearly it wasn't a robbery. And if none of the women are saying they did it, did somebody in the staff of where they were staying did it? Did somebody on production do it? It just opens up a bigger conversation. And she obviously didn't do it to herself. She had scratches all over herself and her eye was not a doorknob. Like, come on, guys. So it opens up such a bigger conversation, which is why they were talking about there was a whole investigation that ensued. Now, I think at the end of the day, the women were wasted doing whatever they were doing, and somehow Heather and Jen Shah either purposely or accidentally something escalated and Jen Shah clocked her and went off. That's what I think. I also think that Heather pretends to be Jen's friend, but she wants her out. I think that I think it's been a big systematic thing to get Jen off the show. But let's see what you guys are saying. Mademoiselle says Lisa is a hypocrite. She doesn't want anyone talking about her family, but she was the main one talking about Meredith's family on TV. See, this is the thing. And again, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I look at it this way. I get Lisa had a hot mic moment. I get it. But nothing Lisa Barlow said about Meredith was new information. Jen Shah actually had said all of that. Jen Shah was the one who said Meredith and Seth had an open relationship or were cheating on each other. Jen Shah was the one who said Meredith was in New York sleeping with other people. Jen Shah brought that to the show when she was talking to Whitney about it because Jen was in her feelings because this was season 1, because Jen Shah thought that the reason why Meredith wasn't hanging out with her for the girls' night was because she was choosing Mary over her. But the truth was, Meredith canceled the girls' night with Jen because Brooks was in his feelings because he was looking for a moment on the show about Jen coming over and like doing the high kicks and all of that stuff, talking about Grinder with no underwear on. So that was the misunderstanding, and that's why Jen was in her feelings and told on Meredith. Also, Meredith and Seth, they themselves have talked about how he's always, going to different cities all of the time, not being at home, and he's away 50% of the time, 60% of the time, all of that. And a lot of the women on the show rent their houses and don't own a home. So I get that Lisa Barlow had her hot mic moment, but Lisa did not say anything that was not already on the show and was not already a whole situation. I think Meredith just wanted to really milk the hot mic moment because she needed a storyline. Because what is Meredith's storyline other than being mad at Lisa Barlow? That's why she flipped so quick and became friends with Jen Shaw again. I thought Jen Shaw was this evil, fraudulent person who, Meredith had to do Jen Shaw was the first Botgate, to be honest, because remember, Meredith said she hired a digital private investigator because she thought Jen Shaw was sending her son and members of the cast the threatening text messages and the Twitter and all of that stuff. Remember? And how she was like, you talk about my family, and you're liking tweets about my son, and blah, 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 my family, my family, my family, and how much Meredith hated Jen Shaw, that she did a private investigator, but then all of a sudden she forgave Jen Shaw to go after Lisa Barlow. Because Meredith didn't want people talking about her business. She didn't want them talking about her marriage. So she wanted her storyline to be go after Lisa. So the fact that Lisa Barlow actually is now pushing back when they've talked about Lisa Barlow like a dog, you know what I mean? Come on. All right, let's see. Tammy says, at Mademoiselle, totally agree with you. Tammy says, Jen punched her intentionally. Yeah, I agree. I think that Jen probably was wasted and she was tired of hearing Heather saying one thing to her face and one thing behind her back. Also, Heather was a big reason why Jen and Lisa Barlow wasn't friends. She would always go to Jen, Lisa, 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 and then Jen would take the bait. So yeah, and Tammy says, I agree. Heather is a mean girl. 100% Heather is a mean girl. I don't trust Heather as far as I can throw her, and I can't even lift her. Can't even lift her. Heather to me is very conniving and very sneaky. But I also think Whitney, bad weather or whatever, they've separated. I also think Whitney is also very conniving and very sneaky. I don't think Whitney actually likes Lisa. I think Whitney is like enamored with Lisa. And she has such low self-esteem that she thinks the only way to be friends with Lisa Barlow is to lie and to throw other people under the bus so then she's useful to Lisa. And to be honest, I don't think Lisa really likes Whitney. I think Lisa is being strategic at this point. And this is a big reason why I think this season kind of sucked and why this season wasn't that good, was because there wasn't any genuine friendships anymore. It was all alliances. It got to be very, very Real Housewives of Beverly Hills type situation where there's no genuine friendships and it's all alliances. I don't think Lisa really likes Whitney. I think that she knows that Whitney is so desperate to be liked by her that Whitney will just go and just feed Lisa all of the stuff that people are talking about her. And Lisa just needed somebody to be aligned with. I don't think Meredith likes Jen. I don't think Meredith likes Heather. I think that Meredith needed a new ally in Jen to go after Lisa because she wanted a storyline. And again, like I said, and I believe this, I think that Angie Harrington, Heather, Dana, and Angie K all got together to have an alliance. That's what I think is really going on. Tammy says, I agree that Heather is a mean girl. Tammy says, Heather doesn't like Jen. She doesn't. I think Heather wants to take Jen's place. Like she would just marry Coach Shaw. and on the show, but I don't think Heather really likes Jen. I think she pretends. I think it's very fake and phony. Hey, Mademoiselle at Tammy Green, not a fan of Lisa. The fakeness of her is too much for me. Tammy says Lisa was supposed to be Meredith's friend, but she was not at all. Lisa is so fake. See, I think Meredith wasn't Lisa's friend. This is what happened. This is what I think happened. And rock with me on this. Let me know what you think. This is where I think Lisa and Meredith's friendship actually started to crack. And this goes all the way back to season 1. Lisa Barlow was writing for Meredith and was saying that Jen Shah was a liar, that she was lying on Meredith, when Jen Shah was saying that Meredith was sleeping with half of New York and that Meredith was cheating on Seth and that all of that was going on. And then when Meredith came out and said, you know what, it's true. Seth and I are, quote, separating or taking space or seeing other people or blah, 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 blah. I think Lisa Barlow was blindsided because don't forget, Meredith and Seth were fronting. They were acting like they were a happily married couple, that they were together and monogamous. They were doing double dates with Lisa and John. They were fronting until Jen Shah told it because Jen Shah was in her feelings. And I think that's when it stopped because Lisa was like, wait a minute, I thought you and Seth were this happily married couple that me and my husband and my family have been like doing double dates on and everything. I think that's when the cracks really started to show in their friendship because they were fronting. Then all of a sudden, Meredith and Seth came out, yeah, you know, we've been having problems and blah, 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 blah. And this is what I think with Meredith and Seth. I think they have an agreement. I think that they've been together for how many years? They have the kids, they have the businesses, they have the show. I think they're like, let's just pretend we got back together. Let's just pretend everything is happy families so we can stay on the show, so people can stop digging into our business, so we don't look whack as hell. What I think really is going on is I think they're going to stay married, but I think Seth can do Seth, and I think Meredith can do Meredith. And I don't think there's actually any, quote, cheating, because I don't think that there's the expectation of monogamy. This happens to a lot of couples who have been together for years and decades, and they have the kids and have the businesses. It becomes more familial. I think they're more like brother and sister. I think they're doing life together. I think they're co-parenting together. But do I think that they are a husband and wife, you know, in that sense? No, I think they have an agreement. And that happens to a lot of couples. But I don't think that they were being honest with Lisa and John about it. And they sure as hell wasn't being honest with Bravo and us about it in the beginning until Jen Shah told it, because apparently Jen and Meredith were dipping it and doing it. And that was really the beginning of the cracks in Lisa's friendship with Meredith. And that even came out in the hot mic moment because Lisa was like, oh, wait, you don't want to be friends with me? You don't want to talk to me because I don't cheat on my husband and all of this stuff? That's where I think the demise in their relationship really came in. And Meredith really wasn't a friend to Lisa. She really wasn't. I just think the fact that when Lisa stands up for herself, because Lisa does have that energy and that air of being, you know, that girl, people take it differently. But Meredith has been lying. Heather has been lying. Whitney has been lying. They've all been doing it. All been doing it. Mademoiselle says Lisa was supposed to have been Meredith's friend. That was no friend to go off on national TV and disparage your, quote, best friend. Meredith did not have Lisa's back at all. Meredith was not acting like Lisa's friend at all. She was right along with them, throwing her under the bus, not supporting her. Come on. And you also have to think about it. Lisa Barlow didn't just go from being happy with besties with Meredith to all of a sudden randomly popping off on her. The whole friendship had been strained. Tammy says she gave her the storyline. Exactly. Meredith, and this is the thing, I actually think it would have been a much better season. If the first episode, I'll give it to you, Meredith, you can have righteous anger, pop off about the hot mic moment, stick it to Lisa, we get it. But then I wish they would have just gotten drunk and laughed and had fun and came back together as friends and had the season be Meredith and Lisa mending their friendship and having fun and being a good kiki. I think that would have been a much better season. I don't like Heather or Whitney, but I also would have liked it better if Bad Weather would have stayed together, and it would have been a much more fun to see them together. The problem with this season is that everybody was fighting for a storyline, everybody was faking it, everybody was going against each other, and then people who aren't actually friends formed alliances. I don't think Lisa and Whitney are friends. I think that's an alliance. I don't think Heather and Jen are friends. That's an alliance. I don't think Meredith and Jen are friends. That was an alliance. Obviously, Angie, Dana, and Angie K are an alliance. That's just because they want to become the new girls. They want to be the diamond holders. Like Meredith said, they've been trying to get on the show for the last 3 years. I think Bravo did a misstep. I think because, and I'll tell you why I think Bravo did a misstep, and this is another reason why I think this season was really lackluster and boring and hanging on by a freaking thread. They essentially cast the same exact person 3 times. Angie H, Dana, and Angie K are pretty much the same exact person. Pretty much the same exact person. What about any of these 3 women make them uniquely interesting? Not a thing. All 3 of them just regurgitate and repeat the same exact thing over and over and over again because it's so obvious they all got together to try and kick the other women off the show so they could be on it. None of them have a storyline that is based on their own life. All of their storylines is either based on Jen Shah or low-key Lisa Barlow, and that's Angie H. Other than that, what is interesting about these women on their own? What would give Bravo the idea that any of these women could hold a snowflake? And now that Jen Shah is gone, what is going to be Dana's storyline? What's going to be Angie H's storyline? Because her whole storyline was the fact that her and her husband set up a troll account called Shah Exposed, and her trying to take down Lisa Barlow, which failed. Because Angie H came on all the way types crazy. You guys want to talk about people are supposed to be people's friends. Angie Harrington was Lisa Barlow's friends for a decade, but she came on the show befriending Whitney, trying to take down Lisa. Because low-key, Angie has always been jealous of Lisa. She wants to take Lisa's place on the show. They want Dana to take Jen's place on the show. That's why Dana kept going for Jen. And they also wanted to use Angie Cage to do it too. And trust me, I'm not defending Jen Shah at all. I think she actually did not get enough jail time, to be quite honest. So this is not me defending Jen Shah by any means at all. What she did was dead wrong. She deserves to go to jail. I actually think she deserves to go longer to jail than what she got. But in the context of Housewives, I think Bravo really messed up with the casting. There's no difference to me between these 3 women. And none of these 3 women are interesting on their own. That's why the whole season was flat. It was one beat the entire time. Every single episode was exactly the same over and over and over again. All right, let's keep going. Tammy says, yep, she gave her a storyline. Barbara says, I remember that. Yep. Hey, Mademoiselle says, at Tammy, I saw your comment. OMG, we thought the same thing about Lisa and her being a friend. Tammy says they all have hated Jen at some point. True. 100%. Tammy's laughing. Yay, I love it. Hey, Mademoiselle says, are your lives notified based on Eastern or Pacific time? Oh, they are based on your time. I think that YouTube converts it to whatever your local time is. I happen just to go early with the Salt Lake City. Like I'll put the lives up and schedule them, but when I can go because YouTube is not my full-time job, so I have to do YouTube when I can. So it converts it to your time. That's why subscribing and hitting the notification bell is so important so you get notified. Tammy says, Whitney is worse than Lisa in my opinion. Tammy, yes. Okay, this is where we definitely vibe. Whitney to me is 100% worse than Lisa. I think Whitney is a liar. I think she's conniving. I think Whitney, she might be dumb, but she's not stupid when it comes to Whitney. I think that she threw Heather Gay under the bus 100%. I don't like Heather Gay, but when it comes to Heather versus Whitney, I'm Team Heather. I think Whitney was all the way wrong. Whitney can remember conversations, gossip, whatever, all day long. It does not mean that Heather has to co sign everything you say, Whitney, just because you wanted to talk about Angie H. And the Lisa Barlow rumors does not mean Heather has to. She's her own person. Like she said, I'm an adult. I decide what I want to partake in and what I don't want to partake in. It's not me being a bad friend, it's me being my own person. And I think it's really ironic how much Whitney is on her quote healing journey and becoming her own person and creating boundaries. Well, when Heather actually gave you a boundary, you went off the deep end saying she's a bad friend and you won't let a friendship break. So who is actually the bad friend in that situation? You. Just because Heather did not co-sign your BS because you wanted to be in Lisa's good graces does not make Heather a bad friend. Because personally speaking, if my friend is spreading a rumor that my other friend may or may not have said, I have the right to say I don't want to participate in it. Doesn't mean I'm not a good friend. It just means I'm my own person and I'm allowed to say what I want and what I don't want to participate in. Whitney Rose, shut up and miss me with that. Also, when it comes to the Lisa Barlow rumors, and I'm happy it came up on the reunion, and I've been saying this since day one, it is so obvious that two different people, i.e. Angie Harrington and Meredith and Jen, started two separate rumors about Lisa, both of which I think are lies. I'll tell you the rumors that I think are lies and what I think was made up, okay? Jen Shaw and Meredith Marks clearly got together because all of a sudden Meredith wanted to be friends with Jen because she needed a person to have an alliance with, even though last season she hated Jen and was hiring a private investigator to dig up everything on Jen, calling her a fraud. And Meredith, don't forget, Meredith said, if you invite Jen to something, don't invite me. But then all of a sudden, season 3, Meredith and Jen are best friends. It's like Jen said, their friendship, it's a friendship of convenience, not a real friendship. That's another reason why the show sucks. Nobody's actually friends anymore. Okay? They got together and made up the lie that Lisa was doing, quote, favors for people in order to get Vila Tequila distributed. Now, distribution, excuse me, distribution is different from investment, okay? Distribution is we're going to have your tequila in Target. We're going to have your tequila in this XYZ bar. We're going to have we're going to have your tequila in these restaurants. We're going to have your tequila sold blah 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 blah. That's distribution. Distribution is what places will sell your stuff and put it in that, okay? So what Jen and Meredith were saying was that Lisa was doing, quote, favors in order to get her Vita tequila placed in different places to sell it. The reason why I know Meredith made this up is because it's like Meredith. Remember, Meredith is a lawyer. The fact that she made it very clear that she said, quote, favors, which we would all imply as sexual favors, but what she made very clear to say was just favors, i.e., she cannot then be held accountable for, is it liable or slander, whatever it is, because she knows it's a lie and she's making it up. A favor could be anything. Hey, you know what? I'll do you a solid if you put this in here. I'll do this for that for you. She made it very, very clear that she never said sexual favors, that she said favors. To me, that means you knew exactly what you were doing and you were covering yourself. You gave yourself cover. You gave yourself an out. And to me, that's a strategic thinker. That's a lawyer who is covering their bases so you can't be sued. And that is clearly someone who made it up. That's why when Whitney Rose said, oh, yeah, I've heard that too, Meredith almost spit out her Chardonnay that she was drinking because she knew it was a lie that her and Jen made up. But then the rumor that Whitney goes on to say is the one that Angie Harrington made up, which was that Lisa Barlow was sleeping with a very wealthy guy in Salt Lake City in order to get investments into Vita Tequila. Now, investments is money, right? So I'm going to sleep with this person and they are going to invest in my company, right? Which is essentially prostitution. I'm going to sleep with you and you're going to give me something monetary. And I think Angie Harrington made that up. Now, that one, the one with Angie Harrington and sleeping with a person for investment, that is the rumor that then got twisted when they were all wasted into Lisa Barlow is giving blowies for jazz tickets. That was the rumor that got twisted into that, right? Which I also think Angie Harrington made up. Another reason why I think Heather did not want to get involved is because, like I said, it's not because Heather was trying to go against Whitney. It's not that Heather was trying to protect Lisa Barlow. It was because Heather was trying to protect Angie Harrington. Because Heather, Angie Harrington, Dana, and the other Angie all have an alliance. And the reason why that makes sense is Heather is saying, "Oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember Angie saying that," is because she doesn't want it to go back to the fact that Angie Harrington was the one who made up the rumor and started the rumor and spread the lie. So she's not protecting Whitney or Lisa, she's protecting Angie. That's why we had that scene when it was Angie, Heather, Dana, and the other Angie. They all got together and were talking about it because it was right before the trip that Angie Harrington wasn't invited to. That to me clearly, and it was all, well, like if Jen Shaw gives you an ultimatum, either me or her, she's like, and then that's when Heather was like, "Oh, no, no, no. If she gives me an ultimatum, I'll definitely pick you, Angie." That to me is very telling. Obviously, the four of them have an alliance. So Heather was trying to protect Angie H because then Angie H got up on the reunion lying through her teeth. "I never said that. I never said that. Girl, you're lying. You said it." And another reason why Angie Harrington was lying about spreading the rumor, and another reason why Heather is trying to protect Angie, is because the person that Angie Harrington was saying Lisa Barlow was sleeping with is a very well respected and a very powerful and influential and a very wealthy man in Salt Lake City. So if it goes back, and I believe he's most likely married too. So if it gets back to him that it's Angie Harrington saying that he is sleeping with Lisa Barlow and is doing favors for her when he is a powerful, influential married man in Salt Lake City, that could blow back on Angie Harrington and her husband. They could then start getting blacklisted. They could then start having people not invite them to stuff. That could then take down their reputation. Because it's not just Lisa implicated in that rumor, it's also that wealthy, married, powerful man. Especially in, quote, pious places like Salt Lake City, it could do really bad to somebody's reputation that they're saying, "Hey, you're sleeping with women, you're a married man, and you're giving them money and favors in exchange for sex." That could have a really bad effect on that man's reputation in marriage too. So that is why I think Angie Harrington is so desperate to lie and say she didn't start the rumor. And that is why Heather is so desperate to protect Angie, because I think Heather's true alliance is to Angie, because she can't stand Lisa Barlow. She's been jealous of her since day one. And she's also been faking her friendship with Jen Shaw for relevancy on the show and for storyline. That's what I think is really going on. And they're worried that they're going to be blacklisted if it comes out that they were the one who started the rumor about this wealthy, powerful guy. That's what I think is really going on. Okay, let's say. Hey, Tamandra, she goes, "Heather knows exactly what happened to her eye." Yeah, 100%. Hey, Chocolate Chunks, it says, "Hey, Candy and the Candy Canes." Thank you, Tammy, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. She's like, "I agree that they all are using each other 100%. Thank you, Tammy, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Hey, Mademoiselle, not a fan of Whitney either. No. And also, don't forget, Thank you so much for the super sticker, Tammy. Also, don't forget, I don't think Whitney's husband, Justin, was fired from his job. I don't think that. I think him and the other executive came up with this plan because they didn't want the smoke because they're in that class action lawsuit. And I'll tell you why. One, Justin's response to being allegedly fired from a job that he's been on for almost a decade, and he was really at the top, which it was too nonchalant. It was too la 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 la. You see what I'm saying? And then also the rationale made no sense. Oh, they're firing you because we did a sexy scene on the show. This is the season 3 of the show. If they were going to fire Justin for some type of morality clause, wouldn't they have fired him for being on the show point blank, period? Because season 1, they were all wasted. They were naked in the sprinter. They were basically seeming like they were swingers. You know, at the birthday parties, all of them were taking shots and taking their clothes off and grinding and being in the pool and being on the stripper pole, all of that. So that wasn't enough for him to be fired? Come on. Come on. Whitney is always half naked showing off her boobs all of the time. Justin is always talking about the boobs and taking shots and all of that stuff. So don't miss me with this whole morality clause. Also, don't forget, Whitney and Justin met at work when she used to work at the same company as him. They both were married. So she was beneath him. She was in a subordinate. So Justin was in a position of power over Whitney. They both were married. They started a sexual affair. Then they got divorced and then they got remarried to each other. But that wasn't enough of a morality clause. And the only reason why I bring that up is because, you know, normally day to day, okay, people have an affair, they get divorced, whatever. But this whole, you know, Mormon, Salt Lake City situation, aren't affairs frowned upon? Isn't divorce like the worst thing you could do in the world? I mean, you know, according to Heather Gay, her getting divorced was like, oh, I'm going to hell, blah, 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 blah. So meeting at work, having a sexual affair at work while being married, then getting divorced, none of that got Justin fired. But you want to tell me one scene of them painting each other got him fired? No, we're not stupid. What got Justin put on pause at work is what happened during season 2 reunion when it was brought up, when Jen Shaw brought up the fact that there was an FCC filing against in a lawsuit against Justin and the company that he worked for because they were allegedly doing a pyramid scheme, because she was defending herself against them. And she was like, oh, Whitney, is that why you did Wild Rose and not Iris and Beau, as a way for them to sort of launder money? Because I also am very squinty at that. You know what I mean? Like, again, Justin was too laissez-faire about Whitney allegedly losing their life savings, the $130,000. Throughout the entire season, Whitney kept saying, "This is our savings. This is our savings." But then at the reunion, Justin's like, "Oh no, it was money that we were gonna buy a lake house or some house with, or a vacation home." Miss me with that. It's a bunch of BS. Bunch of BS. I think that Justin is shady as hell in business. Whitney is shady as hell in business. That's why she knew exactly the fraud scheme that Jen was being, because again, Whitney might be dumb, but she's not stupid. She knew exactly the scheme that Jen was being indicted for. And I do think that, just like Jen said, maybe the whole thing, you know, starting Whitney's Wild Rose LLC, buying out her partner, saying that they've lost all of this money. Maybe they're trying to cover something up. Maybe they're trying to launder some money. Maybe their house isn't clean. And then Justin let it slip on Watch What Happens Live when Andy was like, oh, are you working or something? He's like, oh, no, I'm in a non-compete. And then Andy said, oh, but you're still getting paid. And he's like, yeah. So Justin, your company is still paying you because you're on a quote non-compete? Where they do that at? So this company that allegedly fired you is still paying you and you didn't even have to get another job yet? Or did they put you on pause because they don't want the smoke out there, because now you're on a reality TV show and you know all the secrets, and you know, and they don't want to piss you off because they have this lawsuit going on against them. So it's better to keep paying you and keep you quiet, but keep it out of the spotlight, because they don't want you to turn on them because the lawsuit is ongoing. Think about Jen Shaw. Stewart turned on her in the lawsuit. Everybody turned on her in the lawsuit. They probably don't want Justin to turn on them for the lawsuit, but they also don't want the smoke. Mm-mm. That's right, mademoiselle. Hey, chocolate chunks. I forgot to watch last night and I forgot to watch the night before. Hashtag already bored with the reunion. Exactly. Mademoiselle says, all I can say is I would never speak to someone who disparaged me and my family in a public forum ever. I mean, they're on a reality show. It's like, if you, that's the thing, then reality TV is not for you. Because if you can't handle somebody talking about you in a disparaging way in a public forum, then you cannot be on a reality show. Because that's literally the assignment every single episode. Hey, chocolate chunks. So Meredith and Seth are both Dixons of the Salt Lake City. Basically, but this is the, okay, this is the difference. That's a really good point. To me, this is the difference between Meredith and Seth and Juan and Robin. I think Meredith and Seth genuinely still like each other. I think that there is a familial love there. I think they like each other. I think they enjoy each other. They probably still have sex from time to time, right? I think that they still really like each other. But I think that they've come to an understanding that, you know, Seth being quote traveling 50 to 90% of the time, like, come on now, like, nobody's dumb, like, come on, you know. I think they just came to the understanding that, you know what, we have these children, we've been together for 20 plus years or whatever it is, we have these quote businesses, we built this life together, you know, let's just have an understanding. You do you, I do me. We'll be here for our children. We'll be here for the businesses. Let's just say we're happy fam, we're quote, you know, together and it's all good. So they stop prying in our business for the show, which I actually think is totally fine, other than the lying part. If you're going to be on the show, be honest about it, because I actually think that it could help a lot of people who are in marriages, because I think it's okay to define your marriage for what is the healthiest and happiest for you and your family. If it is, let's stay married, let's co-parent, let's have our businesses, and you can do what you want and I can do what I want, and it's healthy and it's happy and they have a genuine love and liking for each other, which is what I think the case is with Meredith and Seth. I don't think it's contentious. Then do that. And I think if they actually were honest about it, it could probably help a lot of other people who are watching who find themselves in similar situations who might be struggling. To me, it's the fronting of it. Because do I believe for 1 second Meredith and Seth are in a monogamous relationship? Hell no. Absolutely not. Miss me with that. I think it's very much just for the show. That's what I don't like. It's the fronting for me. The lifestyle, you do you. This is your life, you do you. Now, with that said, where I think that differs with Juan and Robin is I don't think that there is a love there. I don't even think there is a like there. I think it's a very bitter, toxic, unhealthy dynamic, and there is a disdain for each other. You know, like when you see scenes with Meredith and Seth, they're laughing, they're having a kiki, they're having a fun. Are they playing it up a bit? Sure. But I don't think that there's a bitterness there. I don't think that there is a disdain there. I think there is still a familial love and like there. They just happen to have an non-traditional, you know, marriage or whatever, which is their business, and that's fine. Whereas I think Juan and Robin, I don't even think they like each other. I think Robin is very sad. I think she's very bitter. I think she's very angry. Where I think it's similar is I think that they both have an understanding. I think that Juan and Robin are fronting for the cameras, fronting for the show. I think they want people to stop researching and, you know, finding their tea and looking into it. B, I think Robin really needed a storyline. You know, C, I think that Juan likes to have that front, you know, as the basketball coach. You know, he has, you know, the fiance and the kids. in this, even though we're in 2023, there is still this persona of, the successful business, married man, and family. Do you know what I mean? There's still that persona of that. And I think Juan likes that in the world that he's in. I don't know what his job looks like now, given the whole, lawsuit that's going on. But I think prior to that, he wanted that look. There is still a certain cachet and prestige to that cookie cutter life. Husband, wife, children, family, businessman. There's still a prestige to that sort of cookie cutter life. So I think they wanted the front, but I think what's missing is any love. I just think it's bitter. I think it's toxic. I think there's disdain there, and it's really unhealthy. So that's what I think the difference is between the two people. Hey, mademoiselle, there is no friendship. It's dead as it should be. Bloop. Hey, Alex says, I love Lisa. Me too. Meredith went off on how those things are off limits and then can't own up to the fact that she was spreading those same rumors about Lisa. If Meredith would own up to it, I'd be on her side. Alex, I agree 100%. To me, Meredith was just so thirsty for a storyline that's what she grabbed onto. And she just beat the dead horse. It's like, we get it. Lisa had a hot mic moment. Move on. But Lisa never made up any lies about Meredith, where Meredith clearly made up lies about Lisa. Lisa never spilt any of Meredith's secrets, when Meredith clearly spilt the secret about the SEC filing. So it's apples to oranges. Lisa got upset and she popped off and she said everything that we already knew. She didn't tell any of Meredith's secrets. She did not make up any lies about Meredith. She just popped off and read her for filth. But Meredith has made up lies about Lisa and has spilled her secrets. Girl, bye. Exactly. Brandy says that, Alex, I like Lisa too. Me too. Hey, Ebony says, hello, everyone. Late to the live and at work, but here to support. Thank you, sweetheart. Tammy says, exactly. Tammy says, agree. Tammy says, Whitney is a huge liar and a mean girl. 100%. 100%. Whitney is a liar. She's a mean girl. She's fake and fraudulent. And another thing that Whitney Rose really pissed me off with, and it's actually kind of getting very disturbing how, I don't even know how to say it on the channel because I don't want to get doxxed, or not doxxed, but you know what I mean. I don't want to get flagged or anything. But it's also becoming very disturbing how on Potomac and on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, how sexual inappropriateness, either in childhood or towards women, to me, in my personal opinion, is being exploited for storylines. And what I mean by that is Whitney Rose coming in and saying something happened to her and her child. She had some types of childhood trauma, but she doesn't say what the trauma was. She doesn't actually, it's just like, you can't drop a bomb like that without more information. She doesn't say what the trauma was. She doesn't say who did the trauma to her. She doesn't work out how she's working through the trauma. It's just all really bizarre, and there's more questions than answers. And I feel that if you're going to bring that type of topic and energy to the show, there needs to be some type of transparency, honesty, and resolution, because that can be very triggering to people watching, very, very triggering to people watching. And I think to use that as a storyline without more context, without more information, without some type of resolution is a very, very dangerous thing. The same thing with Potomac, with Giselle using, I felt so uncomfortable with Chris and he lured me to the hotel room, blah, 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 blah. And making it seem like Chris is somehow some sexual predator when he's clearly not. And all of it was debunked, and production clearly had the receipts to dispute it. Again, that's very triggering. Like Candace said, you're making it hard for people who really have gone through this to come forward. I think that's a very dangerous road for these shows to take, unless they're going to be very responsible about it. These are very triggering topics, very sensitive topics. that there's not any resolution to. So that's another reason why I was like, miss me with this, Whitney. Miss me with it. Okay. Paula says, I'm trying to figure out why Angie K and Danica or whatever her name is so glammed up like they're regulars. That's what I'm saying. Good point. I think that Angie Harrington, Danica, whatever the heck her name is, and Angie K, I think they all got together because, like Meredith said, they've been so desperate to be on the show for the last 3 years, and they think that they are going to become full time snowflake holders. Bravo. I don't know if you listen to me or not, but I'm telling you, do not make these women full time snowflake holders. It's not going to work. You thought this season was bad? Imagine next season. There is zero, and I mean zero, in my personal opinion. Like, I could be wrong on this, but in my personal opinion, I am negatively invested in these women. I don't care about Dana. I don't care about any of the Angies. To me, they are all the same exact person. They're all fake and phony. They all got together and made up how they're going to take down Jen and take down Lisa and replace all the women on the show. And I don't care about them. I don't know anything about their lives that I actually care about. So I actually think it was a misstep for Bravo to bring all three of them on as friends of in the first place. We could have done everything with these three women. As much as I don't like her, she's more interesting with Angie H. I personally cannot stand Angie Harrington. I can't stand her or her weirdo psycho troller husband. Like, that whole situation is really crazy to me. What grown adult create troll accounts to troll people online and to bully them? That is some psycho stuff. You know what I mean? If somebody did that in middle school or high school, they'd be expelled. That is some psycho sick stuff. When you really step back and think about it, that is some psycho sick stuff. Real type crazy stalker stuff, right? But we could have done everything with Dana and Angie, all with Angie Harrington. We didn't need all three to do one person's job. Hey, Ebony, I don't think that Heather is definitely trying to protect Jen. I do think that Heather, yes, I agree. I think that actually, I take that back. I think, and I get what you're saying, Ebony, and I agree on the surface, but don't forget what Heather said in the confessional when they said, who are you trying to protect? And she said, myself. I think that she's protecting Jen because she is afraid that if she doesn't, what Jen and her lackeys will say or do against her. Maybe Jen has something on Heather. Maybe she's just worried that Jen will attack her. I think that Heather is protecting Jen because she doesn't want to go against Jen and have something bad happen. So I think that Heather was being honest when she said she's trying to protect herself, because I do think Jen is the one that gave her the black eye. But it's not so much I want to protect Jen. It's just that if this woman is capable of giving me a black eye, what else is she capable of doing if I tell that she gave me the black eye? Tammy says, I choose Heather over Whitney also. 100%. Paula says, Whitney likes to get drunk and get messy. She likes just to talk to herself. She likes to just talk to hear herself talk. She really gets the story right. I agree. To me, Whitney is messy as hell. She's a weird, and even listening to her talk, it's like listening to a child. She's like, and then and you said and it's like, Whitney, shut up. Go back to the rock you crawled under. I can't stand Whitney. I really can't. And I know some people in the chat, and it's cool because we all come here. Everybody's opinion is welcomed and respected. But the only person, I know this is an unpopular opinion sometimes, but the only person I like is Lisa. I love Lisa Barlow. When she was in the confessional and she was like, I am very important to God, I was like, that is the energy I'm bringing into 2023. I am very important to God. I was like, yes, 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 yes. I love Lisa. I do. Paula says, Whitney likes, oh, that's right. Yep. Hey, chocolate chunks at Paula. They're glammed up because they're on TV. Also, because their reunion is a time to bring it because it might mean a return for the next season. Paula says chocolate chunks. They were trying way too hard. Angie has pounds of makeup on, and the other one could have done better. I don't want to see either of them next season. They're doing the most. I agree. They're doing the absolute most. And you guys are both right. They are coming and doing the most because they really want that snowflake. They really want to come back. But I also agree, I don't want them on my screen. I literally do not care at all to see these women again. And not in a mean, obviously not in a mean spirited way by any means. I just mean like for like a kiki fun time for the show. Not personally. Hey, Ingrid, to slander is verbal, orally spoken, libel is written. Yes, Ingrid, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hey, Paula, Lisa's promoting Vita every show. She be on it. Exactly. That's not what you got to do. That is what you got to do. Hey, Alex. Yeah, I was on Merritt's side cheering her on the first 4 episodes, but she can't let things go. Exactly. Exactly, I agree with you, and that's where I think Meredith really did her misstep, right? That's where she really did her misstep. We would have been rooting for her the first couple of episodes. Well, I'll give her 1 episode, to be mad, but then keep it popping and pushing. And she did the same thing the prior season. Her entire storyline, season 2, was going after Jen. And then she flipped it to be Jen's bestie, and then all season 3 was going after Lisa. But that's not actually having a storyline, Meredith. That is you deflecting because you don't want to talk about anything going on in your actual life. And we're tired of it. You actually would have been the victor with Meredith versus Lisa because yes, even though Lisa did not spill any of your tea or any of your secrets, she read you for filth. And we were on your side until you milked it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying what Lisa Barlow did was okay. Obviously, it's very hurtful, but it's not the most hurtful thing anybody in the entire world has ever said on a show. Hey, Brandy, I agree with you, Candy. I like Lisa too. And yes, I feel Heather is a mean girl. Thanks, Brandy. Hey, Chocolate Chunk, the Justin firing thing made no sense. Didn't we already know that at season 2 reunion that he was fired? How did it come up season 3 like it was news? Yes, Ebony says, good points, Candy. Thank you, sweetheart. She says, the non compete just applies to the same industry, meaning it's an issue if your new job is in the same industry, he's still getting paid. Sounds fishy. Exactly. Exactly. That's why I was just like, some BS. And to be honest, Justin and Heather's energy never gave concern, never gave genuine worry. And I know she's making this little Bravo check, but if you have just squandered almost 150 or 130, whatever the heck it was, $1,000 of your family's savings, allegedly, and if your husband, who is the primary breadwinner, just got fired, wouldn't there be a little bit more stress, a little bit more tension? That would test the absolute best of marriages. When you had a wife who squandered all of your life savings over like $130,000, and then the husband who's the breadwinner just gets fired because of the antics allegedly that the wife is doing, that would test the strongest of marriages. And I don't think Whitney and Justin have that strong of a marriage, especially now that they're talking about how it's even lackluster in the bedroom. And I think the only thing that really kept Justin and Whitney together was the sex. And now that that's gone, what else? So that's why I never really believed Whitney and Justin, because it just didn't make any sense. I think that there are definitely some you know what I mean? What's the word? Some fronting, some money laundering, some money washing, some shady stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Ebony says, agreed. I sent some love between Mary and Seth also. Yeah, 100%. Hey, Miss T, what's up, sweetheart? She always holds me down. She says, good point. Yes, Miss T says, hit that subscribe. Absolutely. Hey, Miss T, Juan and Robin love the kids, not each other. Exactly. Exactly. That's a fantastic point. The image, 100%. Foxy says, yep, so true. Many couples want that fake front. 100%. And to be honest, this is the thing. I'm okay with the fake front in certain situations. And I'll tell you why. I'm okay with the fake front in certain societal business situations because there is a thing called boundaries, there's a thing called discernment, there's a thing called oversharing. There are certain things in your relationship that it is okay to keep sacred, to keep private, to not tell, to not share. There's a thing called privacy. So to me, sometimes it's okay to put on that front of this is what's going on, in certain societal situations, because that's the society we live in. Where I don't think it's okay is when you are trying to do that and be on a reality show, or do that in the context of you're getting paid or you're getting famous or you're getting X, Y, and Z, with the understanding that you're being honest and transparent. That to me is when I don't like the front. Don't be on a reality show and fake the funk. Don't be on a reality show then, or be on a different type of reality show. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, I don't know. I think it's okay to have a certain type of lifestyle and use your discernment, use your etiquette, use privacy. You know what I mean? Social decorum. You don't have to be telling everybody Tom, Dick, and Harry about your situation when it's inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's okay to have that front. You know, everybody does not need to know every single thing about your life. Use like those people on Facebook who are like crying and doing the absolute most. It's like, girl, bye, calm down. You see what I'm saying? Whew. Miss T says, I'm late. Thoughts on Heather? Cliff notes on Heather Gay. I think she's lying about the black eye. I think she knows that Jen Shaw hit her. And I think that the person she is protecting, like she said, is herself, because she's worried that if she tells on Jen Shaw will retaliate. I think that Heather is not Jen's friend. I think that's nothing but an alliance. And maybe Jen Shaw has something on her. Maybe, maybe not. And I also think that Heather is in an alliance with Angie Harrington, Dana, and Angie K. I think the four of them have an alliance. I think that Angie Harrington wants to be the HBIC on the show, and she wants to replace Lisa Barlow. I think Heather wants to stay on the show, and I think that she can't stand Lisa, so she wants Lisa gone. I think that they want Dana, which is why Dana went off the deep end with her whole, deleted scene moment, blah, 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 blah. I think that they wanted Dana to replace Jen Shaw, and I think Heather was okay with that, because I think deep down Heather doesn't like Jen either. She's just fronting. And I think that Angie K is down to be a pick me, and she's down to help take them out. And she wants a snowflake, and she thinks the best way to get a snowflake is to go against Jen and to be on Team Angie. And I think Heather is fake as hell. And I think that, like they said at the reunion, Heather put a lot of people in jeopardy. Because don't forget, it is a very huge thing. I'll say a woman, but anybody, to be surrounded by cast members, by staff members, by production people, having heavily been under the influence of alcohol and maybe some other stuff, wake up and having been physically assaulted. That is a big, big deal. That's why it was so contentious at the reunion, and why they were talking about an investigation. Was she also sexually attacked? You know what I mean? Was that an element to it? Because clearly it wasn't a robbery. That's why Lisa was saying, well, we wish you would have said that, because you put a lot of people's livelihoods at stake. And the investigation that Bravo did was not, I don't think it was into the cast members. I think it was into the production, because you have cameramen, you have men and women. I don't want to be sexist. You have camera people, you have lighting people, you have producers on set, you have executives on set. You have a lot of people who are working behind the scenes. You have sound and lighting and all of that. You have all of those people. So if you have a cast member that all of a sudden says, I've been attacked in the night, that puts everybody in question, not just Jen, Shaw, and Lisa, and Meredith, and Angie. It puts everybody who had access to Heather in question of what happened. Because unfortunately, just because somebody is on the production team doesn't mean that they're a good person. You know, there are accountants, lawyers, production people who are predators. Predators aren't just people walking around with a black ski mask. So the fact that she woke up having been physically assaulted puts everybody into question. That's why it was so deep at the reunion and they were talking about the investigation. And that's why Heather was so hard trying to cover herself up. Oh, I don't remember. I was blackout. It was shame, blah, 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 blah. No, girl, Jen clocked you. You're protecting yourself because you didn't want to go against Jen, because you didn't want her smoke. Because if she's willing to clock you and pop off on people, she's probably willing to tell your secrets and do something worse. So you want to protect yourself. And you didn't realize playing this cat and mouse game of what happened. I know what happened. You tell me what happened was going to lead to the fact that everybody would be investigated. I don't think she realized the gravity of playing around with her black eye would ensue. But it's a big deal because somebody did that to her. She didn't do it to herself. That's not a falling on a doorknob. Come on now. I don't think she was prepared for her little cat and mouse game to have the consequences it did. And then she was trying to cover and protect herself. Miss T says, what happened to Whitney's storyline? Exactly. Whitney is boring as hell. Boring as hell. Jacob says SA and feeling uncomfortable storyline is the new your husband is gay storyline. Exactly. Exactly, Jacob. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's getting into very dangerous territory. Very, very dangerous territory, messing around with that. Very, very dangerous. Hey, Mademoiselle, Sloan just dropped a video on Madonna being investigated for trafficking her own children. What? Whoa, I'm gonna have to check that one out. That's deep. Ebony says, great point, Candy, about trauma being exploited on Real Hop and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. 100%. 100%. And I'm just fearful. I don't want that to become the new trend. Just like Jacob said, I don't want that to become the new normal. I don't want that to become the new trend where it's, I don't have a storyline, so let me make one up about somebody on the cast or their husband or their wife, blah, 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 blah. I don't like it. Like, let's get back to Kiki's. Let's get back to the fun and the lightness of it. You know what I'm saying? And if they're going to tackle those types of topics and conversations, they need to do it in a very responsible way. Because I can guarantee you, Whitney talking about her childhood, quote, trauma probably triggered a lot of people, but there was no resolution. There was no healing. There was no context. There was no information. And to me, that's a very dangerous thing to do. Ms. T says the friends of did the most this season. That part. Ebony says that was insane and pathetic for a 50-year-old man to create a fake IG account to troll Jen. I'm telling you. 1 second. 100%. That is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And there's also something very weird and very slimy about Angie and her husband. Something that I don't buy. There's something very off there. Ebony says, oh, or like maybe Heather swung first and Jen has something on Heather. Gotcha, Candy. Right. You know what I'm saying? I think I think when Heather said, I'm protecting myself in the confessional, I think that was the most honest thing she said the entire time about the black eye. I think she knows exactly how she got the black eye. And I think she's protecting herself, as in she doesn't want to say it was Jen outright because she doesn't want Jen to retaliate. Chocolate Chunk says Lisa Barlow has been my fave since last season. I love Lisa. I loved her since day one. I think she's fantastic. I don't want these women to break her or to change her. And as much as I clown Meredith, I really want next season for Meredith and Lisa to get back on track. I think that they are so much more interesting, dynamic, and funny and stronger together. Hey, Miss T, all these ladies dress for different reunions. Exactly. They were all going to different parties. They were all going to different parties. Miss T, a good housewife has to forgive. Exactly. Exactly. Because to be honest, all of these women have read each other for filth in one context or in one way or another. 100%. Foxy says, I feel like Lisa and Meredith, they look like sisters. 100%. I miss their friendship. I lived for Meredith and Lisa. I want them both to come back next season. But if they're going to come back fighting, miss me with it. Lisa, if you listen to this, pull a Meredith. And if Meredith is still going to harp on this stupid hot mic moment that honestly nobody cares about anymore, disengage. Don't play into it. Okay? We've seen it. We got it. Don't do it. But I really hope you guys get back to being friends. Hey, Natoski says the left couch is the worst. Yeah, is that Heather? Yeah, as the left couch, Heather, Meredith, and Angie, I agree. They're a hot mess. That says Meredith has descended into Heather levels of being the worst. I agree. That's because I know I'm late. No, it's okay, boo. You right on time. You right on time. And Natoski says Heather admitted she would lie for Jen Shaw. Yeah. Yeah. But again, I think that Heather is lying because she really wants to protect herself. You know what I mean? Foxy says she is definitely lying about the black eye, and I don't get why she is Jen's friend still. I think they have something on each other. I really do. I think they have something on each other. I do. Tobias says, hey y'all. Hey sweetheart. Heather says Heather is in a Jen trance. Natowski says Heather H is desperate to replace Lisa as the head honcho. Exactly. Exactly. 100%. I think Angie Harrington wants to be the queen bee, and she thinks the best way to do that is to dethrone Lisa. Hey, Foxy, Angie H gives me weird vibes or something off with her. I agree. Her and her husband are really creepy to me. Super creepy, super weird, super psycho. Like, I'm just not here for it. Hey, Natoski at Fox says, same, like creepy, evil vibes. Yes. And didn't they say that they were only using their child who's trans for a storyline and that in real life they don't actually accept him, her, or they? Hey, Ingrid says, I'm a woman. I live in Bothwell, Washington, and teach in Edmonds. I've been blacklisted and bullied. I'm a prisoner in my own apartment, as when I go out, I'm followed, harassed, and intimidated. Oh, no. I'm sorry, Ingrid. I'm so sorry. Sending you lots and lots of love. Hey, Natoski, I personally have never liked Heather since day one. Same. Same. I am not a Heather fan. Miss me with Heather. Hey, Gustav. Heather said everyone knows what happened, huh? Exactly. Exactly. That was her way of goading Jen into saying what happened. That's what I think it is. I think Heather didn't want to say it, but that's what the situation was. Okay. Gustav says, I don't remember. I know what happened, huh? Inataski, I love the beautiful bean footage of Heather contradicting herself 20 million times. Me too. Me too. She was just lying up a storm. And I loved how they showed that Meredith was also lying because she did say, oh, at this stage of my life, I wouldn't want an SEC filing. Hey, Ingrid says the police won't help to participate in organized stalking and harassment. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I personally, I don't know what the resources are, but look it up. Do like get some help, look up some resources. Maybe you can go above the police. I am so sorry that's happening, Ingrid. I'm so sorry. Hey, Foxy says that right at Natoski, she gives me the creepers. Gustav says, did Jen give Heather some of that funny money? Listen, I think they have something on each other. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's money. I don't know if it's a secret. I don't know if it's what, but I don't think Heather actually likes Jen the way she pretends to. I think there's something else there. There's a secret, there's a scandal, there's something. Natatsky says, at Foxy, what are your vibes on Heather? Fox says, I think Jen did like Erica and gave her friend some hush money. That could happen. Hey, Gustav, I wonder if Heather is holding money for Jen. Hey, Nataski at Foxy. Oh, so Heather is the Lisa Renna to Jen Shaw. Foxy said Nataski had been awful this season. I used to like her. She seems two-faced. Unfortunately, what do you think about her black eye? Dun 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 dun. Foxy says, yep, Edna Tusky could be so Miss T. What about Heather getting fillers and drinking causing black eye? This is the thing. Okay, good point. Sorry. Okay. Now, this was also a rumor that was going around, right? That Heather somehow had gotten fillers or something at Beauty Lab, and then the drinking and all of that had some type of reaction to the black eye. The reason why I don't think this is true, and let me know what you guys think, obviously, is because Heather might be a shady friend. Heather might be a bad Mormon, but she's a really good businesswoman. And I don't think that she would repeatedly call attention to the black eye if it had anything to do with her business. Because obviously she got the fillers and the Botox at Beauty Lab at her own establishment. I think that she would have downplayed it and then would have changed the subject, talked about something else, went on and moved to something else. I don't think she would have continuously been like, we all know what happened. Everybody knows what happened. Let's talk about what happened. Look at my black eye. Look at my black eye. Because that could then eventually lead to it coming out, people wanting to know, people wanting to research it. So that's the only reason why I don't believe in that theory, is because I think if it could be detrimental to her business, she would not want to draw attention to it. But I think because it was either Jen Shaw or something like that, then yeah, of course she's going to feed into it and play the victim and, milk it for all it's worth. That's the only reason why I don't think it has anything to do with that, because she would not want to draw negative attention to her business. And that could have a negative effect on her money. Oh, you're the owner of Beauty Lab. You went to Beauty Lab with your own products and you looking crazy like this. I'm not going to Beauty Lab. That's the only reason why I don't buy that one. Hey, Gustav, no way. Lisa crossed the line. Hey, Nataski at Foxy, I thought her and Jen got into something. Either it was sexual or violent, and they thought they could just create a mysterious storyline to cover it up for show drama. Yeah, I don't get the whole sexual between Jen and Heather. I know desperate Angie K was trying to say something like that. I don't think their relationship is sexual. I think it's playful and flirty. Yeah, but I don't think it's like Mia Wendy from Rohop. Hey, Gustav, Lisa was so nervous, couldn't shut her mouth. Hey, Misty, Candy lives for Lisa only. No lies detected. No lies detected. I am a Lisa Barlow stan. Gustav says Lisa is covering something. She might be. Hey, Foxy says, yep, Natasha, I think you're onto something. Foxy says something happened between them for sure. Gustav says, where did Jen's money go? Heather's business. No. Jen's money went to Coach Shaw. Okay? Jen's money went to Coach Shaw. And I have said this since day one. And I'm going to talk about this more after Reunion Part 2 airs. But if you've been a candy cane for a while, you know that I've always had this conspiracy theory. I've always said that Coach Shaw was actually the MVP. I said I never trusted him, and I said that he knew what Jen was doing. He's been dipping it and doing it and living his best life. He's been squirreling money away, and that he can't wait for Jen to go to jail so he can start living his best life on his own terms and doing him. And that I never trusted this nice guy act from Coach Shaw. Isn't that exactly what they are alluding to at the very end of the reunion, and they're going to get more into in the next episode? Because didn't Andy, when Andy was talking to Whitney, and let me back up. When Heather said, oh, I think my friend Jen is doing something she doesn't really want to do, i.e., Heather was saying Jen really did not want to plead guilty. And then Andy and Whitney were talking about how Jen pled guilty because there was something in there that could have implicated Coach Shaw in the fraud scheme. So she basically said, I'll take the L, I'll plead guilty in order to save Coach. Because Andy said to Whitney, oh, you think that Coach knew and was in on it and is letting Jen take the fall. And Whitney said, yeah, or whatever she said, but it was basically affirming, yeah, that's what they think is going on. They're going to get more into that in the next episode, I hope, because because you never know, they take stuff out, but they alluded to that at the very end of this episode. And that is what I have been saying since day one. I said Coach Shaw is actually the MVP because he has been riding under the radar. He's been fronting like this nice guy. He knew exactly what Jen was doing. He benefited from all of the money. I bet you he has. And he's a very intelligent man. He's a lawyer. He's very, very smart. And he's very, very manipulative, in my personal opinion. I think that he has squirreled away a lot of the money. And I think that he has his own, man or woman or whatever. And when I say man or woman, I just always want to repeat this for people who are listening for the first time or new candy caners. We are accepting of everybody. So if we do talk about sexuality, whether it's homosexuality, bisexuality, transsexuality, heterosexuality, it's all set from a place of equality and love and respect. So if I say man or woman, or if we talk about that, it's always from a place of love and respect, not judgment or hate or any of that stuff. You're going to hear me say that a lot, but just for people who are new to the channel, I always want to harp on that just so everybody knows this is a safe space and any type of hate is not tolerated here. And when we talk about it from a place of love and kiki. So to me, I think Coach Shaw is dipping it and doing it with whoever he is dipping and doing it with. And he's going to live his best life when she goes to jail. And I have been saying that since day one. Day one, I never trusted Coach Shaw. So I'm really interested to see that storyline play out in what do you call it, in the second episode. Also, I called it with I don't know if I said it on a live or not, but I called the whole thing with Jen Shaw not doing the sit down with Andy Cohen one-on-one because I think Jen Shaw wants a money grab. That's why she didn't do the reunion, and that's why she didn't do the one-on-one with Andy Cohen. Not because one second, I need to write this down. Okay, not because she felt that her lawyers didn't want her to do, the reunion. Her lawyers didn't want her to do the sit down because Bravo's going to spin it. No, Jen Shaw had no problem doing the entire season. Jen Shaw had no problem doing the absolute most and losing her mind on social media. Jen Shaw had no problem cussing somebody out and getting it photographed or getting it leaked to TMZ. Jen Shaw had no problem getting wasted at BravoCon and crashing BravoCon when she wasn't even invited. So you think Jen Shaw is going to actually turn down an invite when she crashed BravoCon when she was not even invited? Absolutely not. It's a money grab. And I'll tell you why it's a money grab. All of a sudden, when she didn't do the reunion, all of a sudden, when she didn't do the Andy Cohen sit down, what did she do? She opened up her own website where you can, get access to the true story. And anybody who gives that woman their email address or their credit card, credit card, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle information, you are absolutely bonkers crazy. I would not give that woman any type of personal information. But if you go to her site, I forgot what the name is, Jen Shaw's truestory.com or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's probably like a Patreon. You probably have to pay a certain fee to get the content and the information. You definitely have to give your email address. I wouldn't give my email address or my name or anything to someone who is going to federal prison for fraud. It's nothing but a money grab. I think Jen said, well, instead of telling my story to Andy or telling my story at the reunion, I'll tell my own story and I'll make money off of it. It's a money grab. I don't think it had anything to do with her feeling that Bravo was going to exploit her or twist her, all of that. When has Jen Shaw ever shied away from a camera? Never. When has Jin Shah given one iota of a care of how she's come across during her time being, in litigation under this lawsuit? Not once. If she actually cared about how she came across or her reputation or even listening to her lawyers, she never would have been on season 3 because the lawyers told her not to go back to the show and she went back to the show. And all the other antics that I just did. It's a money grab. Jen, we see you. You're still trying to hustle, even though you're about to go to jail. But she got a slap on the wrist. 6.5 years. She's not going to do the full 6.5, obviously. She might do maybe, I bet you Jen does 18 months and then she'll be out on parole and maybe house arrest for a little bit, monitored. But I think Jen probably does 18 months and then she'll be out. And it's also a very fluff prison. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat box. Yes, that's right. We're sorry to hear that, Ingrid. Gustav says, no, that was a hit to the eye. Exactly. Gustav said, then both eyes would be black. Very good point. Hey, Natoski, I kind of get that weird vibe. Yup. Hey, Foxy, they were fighting with their tatas, though. Heather's Miss T says, Heather is saying she's trying to protect herself could be because she could look badly on her business. That's true. Hey, Natoski, I saw Jin Shaw's casting video where Coach Shaw said he had this different personality, bragging about how much money his wife spends. Yeah. I never trusted Coach Shaw. Never. I don't trust people who are nice. I don't trust nice people. I'm always like, what are you hiding? I trust people who are kind, but not people who are nice. Hey, Gustav, Coach is a lawyer. Maybe he had a bigger part than we know. 100%. Bare minimum, he was complicit. Bare minimum. But wasn't there also the leaked text messages where Coach, or not, I'm not Coach, where Jen was either telling Stuart or somebody else that Coach Shaw would coach them on what to say? So that's beyond complicit. That's participatory. That's you actually participating in the scheme. And if not in the scheme, you're participating in the cover up. Remember those got leaked? I told you Coach was the real MVP. I think he likes to let Jen be the bad guy so he can play good guy. Foxy says, I don't think Coach Shaw is so innocent anymore. He definitely knew more than he wants to admit. 100%. Hey, Natoski, wasn't Coach Shaw Jen's lawyer in this? They alluded that he was doing a lot of the work with the case. I don't think Coach was Jen's actual lawyer. But I do think that since he is a lawyer, I do think that he was reviewing all of the material. He was looking over the witness statements, all of the evidence, all of that. 100%. He was definitely trying to like review and help and all of that stuff. This is what I think happened. I think that one, Jen could not say plausible deniability. We've gone through this before because, she's a dumb criminal. She created the same exact fraud scheme that her previous employer did that got investigated and she was deposed for. So literally the federal government already has a deposition with Jen knowing that she understands this fraud scheme because she was a part of it. So she doesn't have plausible deniability. She knew. And I think it's correct. Like I've always said, Coach Shaw was a part of it or was complicit. Somehow he was implicated. And I think that they used a bargaining chip. She will plead guilty if they spare Coach. They probably thought one of two things. One, we can't have both of the parents go to jail because there's still Omar, who is 16, and their older son. They probably thought we can't have Coach. We can't have both mommy and daddy go to jail. And I don't think that they would have been as lenient as they were to Teresa and Joe, because to me, Teresa and Joe got preferential treatment. I don't know any court that says when two parents are both criminals, who are both convicted, who are both guilty, say, you guys, one person can go to jail while one person parents, and then we'll swap off. I don't think that regular people on the street get that type of treatment. I don't think people in Inglewood get that treatment. I don't think people, you know what I mean? I don't think certain people get that treatment. I think I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I think those kids would just have to go to, they would probably put their children in the system. Sorry. Sorry. You know what I mean? If there wasn't a family member to take the kids, the average person, this system doesn't care. You're both found guilty, you're both going to jail. And your kids are just going to have to be put in the system. But Teresa and Joe got a very, very cushy deal. A very, very cushy deal. Would Jen and Coach Shaw get that same cushy deal? I don't know. And I think they said, hey, listen, Jen's already on the hook for this. She's the primary person in this. Let's just have Jen go and spare Coach. That's why I think Coach was the MVP and the sniper from the side the entire time. Foxy says, oh no, Candy is laughing. Gustav says, Coach made sure he was always filmed in good and innocent light, 100%. Gustav says, one last scam before prison. Yup. Fox says, Coach Shaw actually fooled me a bit. I thought he was innocent. Clearly, he's not. He's not innocent. He's not innocent because this is another thing. Coach Shaw is extremely intelligent. He is a lawyer. He stopped, quote, practicing law the same exact year she started the scheme. And if Jen Shaw does not have plausible deniability, meaning there is not a logical way, there is not a plausible, realistic way for her to say that she did not know what she was doing was wrong. And Coach Shaw has already admitted that he understood what his wife did. Sneaky Andy Cohen, I don't even think Andy Cohen realized what he was doing. But in season 1 or 2 reunion, remember when he asked Coach Shaw if he understood what Jen did? And Coach said yes. So if Jen understands that what she did was illegal and fraudulent, and then Coach says he understands what she did, by default, he cannot say he did not understand that what his wife was doing was fraudulent and wrong. Particularly because she was investigated with the other company and deposed. And you're going to tell me that her lawyer husband did not understand what was happening? Please. Please. He at bare minimum, he was complicit, but if those leaked emails are true, he participated. My personal opinion, he knew and participated and was trying to help in the cover up. Just like Jen said, Coach Saul will coach you on what to say. Please. Daska says, yo, I agree. I totally had to do with money. Yup. Hey, Toski, however, the judge did emphasize her sentencing could be affected if he could her monetizing on this ordeal. So it's crazy that she's doing this new site. Yeah. It's like, I forgot the exact URL for it, but she's doing a new site where you can sign up and get like the real story or whatever. Mm-hmm. Gustav says, give your credit card to Jen Shaw. I know, right? Hey, Gustav, then you'll receive a bunch of phone calls. Hey, Tusky, anyone who gives their information to Jen Shaw is clinically insane. Exactly. Fox says she is still trying to scam people. Scammers gonna scam. That's true. And the majority of people who actually go to prison for white-collar criminals, for crimes, go back to re-offend. A lot of criminals go back to re-offend. Any type of crime, a lot of them go to prison and they come out and they do it again. Scammers are going to scam. Foxy's laughing. Hey, mademoiselle, Jen has to do 85% of her sentence, so that would be 5.5. She has to do 85%? Wow. Thanks for that, mademoiselle. Hey, Toski, I don't either. I'm kind of not nice. Exactly. I'm the same way. I'm not nice, but I try my absolute best to be a kind and understanding person. And I try my best to be not nice. Not nice as in mean, but not nice as in authentic. Like, be who I truly am, show up as my actual self, and like some people will like you and some people won't, but that's okay, You'll find your tribe by being who you really are. So when I say not nice, I don't mean mean, because to me, the opposite of nice isn't mean. The opposite of mean is that it's kindness, I don't know if that's making sense, but that's how I feel. Hey, Brene, Juan don't like Robin. I remember he'd answered, hey, Rob, wow. Not hey, Rob. Not hey, Rob. Brene, you killing me. You killing him. Mademoiselle says, nice, kind, same semantics. No, the meaning is different. It's not semantics. The meaning is different. Hey, Gustav says, hit that like button. Hey, Misty, gotta go at least, gotta do at least 80% of federal time before let out. That's right. You guys are saying that. Wow. Fox says he's definitely not a dummy. He's not. Hey, Tasket Mademoiselle. Hi, nice and kind are not the same. Exactly. One is surface level and can be inauthentic, and the other is based on the core of who you are and your soul are. Exactly, Natasky. Nice and kind are different. They're two different things. Hey, Gustav, bad lawyer because Jen got nailed. Hey, Mademoiselle Natasky, when people appear nice, they may be doing something that is kind, but then someone else may perceive it to be fake, but in the end, it's subjective. Foxy says you can be both. Mademoiselle said, I agree. Foxy says, hi. That's what you guys are saying. And then Natasky says, sure, but I don't really say all niceness was an authentic, just surface level. Like I said before, kindness is based on the core of who you are and your soul are totally different. I agree with Natasky on that one. I think niceness is you know what you do. And Chocolate says nice has its root in naive. Yes. All right, you guys, I love you so much. We have been on here for over an hour and a half. I'm going to go rest my voice right now because it's getting a little hoarse. So I'm going to go make some tea and rest my voice. But I love you guys so much. As always, put it down below what your thoughts are. Who do you want to return? Who do you not want to return? And what are your thoughts on this whole Jen Shah scandal and Heather's black eye and Angie H giving evil, creepy vibes? But before you do that, you know what to do. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to share this with a friend because a key is always better with community. And check out our description box down below. Be sure to join our newsletter. It is free, and I am not Jen Shah. I promise I will not fraud you if you give me your email address. I promise I will just send you really fun self-love and self-care resources. And you also get a free self-love guide when you sign up. Also, did you check out our courses down below if you're into it? We have a ton of courses down there. I love you guys. Natasha says, thanks, Candy. Drink some throat coat tea. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to go rest my voice. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram @Candy Washington. Let's go!